Hi guys, my name's Amy and I'm a Pilates instructor from Stowmarket Leisure Centre in Suffolk, where I have been teaching Pilates for the past 15 years. I'm here today to deliver to you what we call our pre and postnatal Pilates. Whilst this does focus mostly on during the pregnancy, it is suitable for throughout the stages of the pregnancy as well as afterwards. I'm not a doctor and I'm not medically qualified. You do need to make sure that you have consulted with your GP or doctor before commencing an exercise program. Any participation in the following video is completely at your own risk. If at any point you need to take a breather, whilst pregnant, you do need to do this regularly during exercise. Please take it as and when you feel you need to. If you start to feel dizzy or lightheaded or generally unwell, please stop immediately. Make sure that you take plenty of water breaks throughout the session. We're going to be starting today with some standing work, and then we're going to be doing a little bit of floor-based work. Please have your water handy and keep your breathing steady all the way through. I will cue you in with the breathing, but a lot of people do tend to get very focused on when they should be breathing in and out. We will be focusing a little bit on that, but if you do get into any problems with the breathing, please just try to remember to keep your breathing steady. I'll remind you of that as we work our way through. So let's get started. We're going to begin with your feet as close together as you can. So there's no gap between your feet, and you're trying to just very gently press your thighs together at the very beginning. We're going to think about our foot position to begin with. So I'd like you to start by taking your toes out to the side, so you form a little triangle through the feet, and then take your heels out. Now this gives us what we call a nice hip width position through the legs. The knees are slightly soft. We're going to focus through the pelvic floor, so I want you to feel a gentle drawing up sensation through the pelvic floor. Now, by no means do I want you to pull this up as much as you can. This is a very subtle connection that we're looking for. The shoulders are gently drawing down, and the feeling as if your ears are pulling up towards the ceiling. This in itself also helps to create a lengthening through the spine and a gentle activation of the bottom muscles. So we're doing a very gentle squeeze through the bottom muscles as we stand. Now let's bring our focus to our feet. And one of the first things that we're going to work on today is our balance. Now, as we progress through our pregnancy and baby and bump start to get a little bit bigger, our balance becomes much more challenged. We're going to begin with just a very small rocking movement through the feet. So keeping the alignment through the body, we begin with just a gentle sway forwards and backwards. Now, if you notice, as I work with this swaying movement, as I go back, my toes lift ever so slightly, and as I go forwards, my heels lift ever so slightly. It's a very subtle movement. It's also a full body movement. So I'm not hinging from my hips or from my pelvis. My whole movement is coming through my feet. Little rock back. Now, as soon as we start to work on any form of balance, we create an area of instability. So our core muscles, including our pelvic floor, to a degree have to connect automatically. Now let's think about making this balance a little bit more challenged. As we rock forwards, I want you to see if you can now come up onto the rise for tiptoes balance. Breathe in at the top. Breathing out, control your heels back down and do your gentle rock back. Next out breath, we rock through and onto the rise. So the whole time you're working with this tiptoes balance, ladies, you're thinking about your posture and your alignment, your gentle connection to your center, your squeezing of the bottom muscles, breathing out as we lower and we draw back. Now we're going to work on the tiptoes balance again, but we're just going to leave out the rocking back this time. So we're going to control the heels down without the rocking back. Next out breath again, up onto the rise. Now think about your posture here, your shoulders, the pelvic floor, the gentle squeeze of the bottom. We control the heels back down. We think about adding some upper body in here. So I want you to think about your shoulders staying down. And as you come onto the rise, bring your arms up, just level with your shoulders or chest height. Breathe in, out breath. You lower the heels and you lower the arms. So be thinking about your alignment and your posture all the way through. Hold at the top to breathe in. Breathing out, we control it back down. So we're not only challenging our balance with coming up onto the rise, but we're also thinking about our upper body position. If our upper body alignment is good, it works very much in conjunction through to the core muscles. Let's do that one more time. Onto the rise and bring the arms up. Breathe in, breathe out, lower the heels and lower the arms. Now I want your feet to now stay flat to the floor as we focus through the upper body. So again, be mindful that the shoulders draw down. Your gentle squeeze through the bottom muscles as you now bring your arms all the way up to the ceiling. And then we open the arms out wide. Now let's think a little bit about the breathing with this one. As the arms come up, I want you to breathe in. As the arms open wide, we exhale. So it's an in-breath to bring the arms up in front and all the way up to the ceiling. And it's an out-breath as we open the arms out wide. Now I want you to be aware of how your shoulders are feeling. What's the movement like through the shoulders? This also gives us a little bit of chest opening through here. So this is a great mobility exercise for the upper body, whilst also drawing your focus to your posture and alignment. Still think about your lower back position here, guys. I keep turning to the side so that you can see the posture. As you progress through with your pregnancy, you do tend to develop a little bit more of an arch through the lower back. That will happen quite naturally. If your back is arching because baby and bump is getting quite big, there's not an awful lot you can do about that. Otherwise, we're trying to work with as tall a posture as we can. One more time. Inhale to come up. And exhale to open. Now all we're going to do is reverse that arm movement. Inhale, take the arms out to the sides and all the way up. Now your shoulders are drawing down and we bring the arms back down in front. Now we try to do that without rounding forwards through the shoulders. So it's an inhale as we open and come up to the top. Exhale as we bring the arms back down. But remember, if you do get in a muddle with the breathing, just keep breathing. That's the most important thing. Now, as you keep working with those arm circles, think back towards your feet. Your knees are soft. Your pelvic floor is gently connecting. Your shoulders are drawing down. Let's do that one more time. We come all the way up. And we lower the arms back down. Good, well done. Now let's think to those shoulders for a moment. Let's take them into some double shoulder rolls. We bring them up and roll them down and back. So as you can see, I'm trying to get my chest area to open with those shoulder rolls. Now these will give you a really good idea of what your range of movement is like and your mobility through the shoulders themselves, whilst also encouraging a little bit of chest opening. Now again, you're still thinking about that lower back position, still connecting to your pelvic floor. Let's load that a little bit more by placing your fingertips onto your shoulders and circling. So we maintain the tall posture. We keep those knees soft. We're aware once again of the pelvic floor. Now the movement changes slightly. I want you to bring your elbows together in front if you can. Lift and open the arms out. Let's bring the elbows together. Lift, open them out. So it's a big circular movement. And just by having your fingertips on your shoulders, we help to load that movement just that little bit more. All the way up and open. This is your last one. Join them together. Open out. Release down and relax your arms by your sides. Bring your shoulders up towards your ears. Now this is just a nice little drop through the shoulders. Let's bring them back up and drop. Good, one more time. We bring them up. So this just helps to release any stress or tension through there. And we drop. Good. Now let's think about working into the backs of the arms here. Now again, I'm going to turn sideways on so you can see my alignment. The shoulders again draw down. Lower back, we try to work with that nice straight position if we can, but remember, we're allowing for any baby bump coming in there and altering the posture. Connection to the pelvic floor. Turn the palms of your hands so that they're facing behind you. Now this is a strong movement for the backs of the arms and into the shoulder stabilizers. We breathe out and we press the arms back. We breathe in and we release. So it's an out breath to squeeze back, in breath, release. Now this is a strong movement that I'm looking for in here, ladies. Please don't be tempted to squeeze and push your chest out. I'm isolating down through into the arms whilst keeping my tall posture. So it's a pressing back and a release. A press back and a release. I want you to keep working with those for me. Now, as we work with those arm presses, we also want to add a challenge from the lower part of the body. I want you to try to keep your hips and pelvis as still as you can. And as you press your arms back, I want you to lift one heel off the floor. So the toes stay in contact, but the heel lifts. We lower the heel, release the arms. Let's do the other side. We press back through the arms and we lift the other heel. We lower and release. Good. And again, we press and heel lift. We lower and release. Good. And again, we press and heel lift. We lower and release. Keep going. So as we press through the arms and bring in the heel lift, we're adding a challenge from the lower body as well as working through the upper body. It's this central part here around the hips and the pelvis. I want you to try to keep as still as possible. Now, again, this becomes a much bigger challenge when we're carrying baby. So again, think about your posture, the gentle connection to your pelvic floor. Remember, you're not pulling up as much as you can through your pelvic floor. It's a subtle connection. That subtle connection becomes an awful lot harder when you're carrying a baby. One more on each side. Press and heel lift. Lower and release. Last one. Press the arms back and heel lift. Lower and release. And again, just do a couple of shoulder rolls in there for me, just to allow those to release off. Good, well done. So we start to think about how we challenge our balance just by adding in a little bit of a heel lift. Now, we're going to be coming back to that shortly. Could you, however, take your feet just a little bit wider than hip width for me? Place your hands onto your hips for this next bit. We're going to be thinking about a squat position. I'm going to start by showing you the squat position from the front view, and then I'm going to go to the side. I want to show you from the front because I want you to check your knee alignment as you go into your squat. We begin by bending through the knees and pushing the bottom back. Now, look at the tracking of my knees. They're coming forwards. They're not opening out to the sides. They're not drawing in close together. So I'm trying to keep that alignment. Now, if I turn sideways on, see how my bottom pushes back behind me. If I look down towards my feet, I should be able to see my toes. So my knees are not going over the top of my toes. My head is in line, my shoulders draw down, connect your pelvic floor, breathe out, push back up through your legs. Now try to keep your weight distribution even between your legs as you push up. Let's do that again. We bend through the knees and come down. Now I want you to try to do that on an out breath. You're then going to hold your squat position and take a breath in. On your next out breath, you push back up through the legs. Nice tall posture, shoulders are drawing down. So again, we're really connecting around through here. And again, we bend through those knees. Now a squat is a really functional range of movement. We're going in and out of our squat positions hundreds of times during the day as we get on and off the toilet, on and off the couch, in and out of the car. It's a functional movement. So these are really working on helping to strengthen through your legs and through your bottom muscles. But again, of course, as soon as we tilt the body forward slightly, we get a lot of connection coming around through this center. We push back up. Now, can you remember those heel lifts that we were doing a moment ago? We're going to put those in with our squat position. So as you bend your knees and squat, I'd like you to lift one heel off the floor. Now my weight is coming down centrally. I'm not leaning over to the other side. As I straighten, I lower the heel down. Now I swap to the other side. Heel lift and squat. Breathe in, breathe out, lower the heel and straighten. Keep alternating. Again, I'm going to show you from the side here, guys. So you have your heel lift, your squat, your bottom pushes back, we keep the alignment, head stays in line. We lower the heel as we straighten through the posture. And again, heel lift and squat. Breathe in, breathing out, lower the heel and straighten. Now we're going to load it a little bit more with some arms. Now if you do find that adding the arms in puts just a little bit too much pressure on your back, leave your hands on your hips. So remember, work at the level that you can do here, ladies. As you go into your squat and your heel lift, if you're adding the arms in, they reach forwards, your shoulders draw down. We lower the heels, straighten the legs and lower through the arms. So just by adding the arms in, we are loading your back a little bit more. Depending on how far through the pregnancy you are, if you're quite a way through, you may find that's too much. So pop your hands back onto your hips. Let's do the other heel lift. We have a squat. Other heel lifts, arms reach forward, shoulders draw down. We breathe in. Breathing out, we lower the heel, we straighten the legs, we lower the arms back down, back to the other side again. Now, do you notice much of a difference with your balance when the left heel is lifted as compared to the right heel? It can be very subtle, but you may well notice a difference in there. Good work, ladies. You've got one more on each side with those. Heel lift, remembering you take a breather whenever you need to. Lower the heel, lower the arms. Last one on the other side. Heel lift. Arms reach forward, shoulders down. Breathe in. Out breath. Straighten and release the arms down. Good work, guys. Well done. Now, before we think about taking ourselves down onto the mat, I just want to release into those ankles a little bit. We can tend to gather a little bit of fluid around through the ankles, so we're just going to work on releasing that off a little bit. Can you just do a very small roll in and out for me to try to release those ankles? And you can see my legs are rotating in as I do that. And this is all just about encouraging a little bit of mobility through the ankles. Don't try and move them too much. Just be aware of what your range of movement is like. And then settle yourself back to center. Standing work is really important during the pregnancy. It's very good to allow the blood flow and all the circulation around through the legs as well as keeping you a little bit on top of your balance as we work our way through. Now we're going to be thinking about doing a little bit of floor work. However you find it easiest doing so, I'm going to ask you to come down to the mat. Now, depending on how big baby bump is, you will need to adjust that however you find it easiest to. We're going to be coming down into an all fours position. Now with the all fours position, we're looking for your hands to be directly below your shoulders and your knees directly below your hips, which means you have a gap between the hands and between the knees. The elbows are slightly soft. Now if you just take a look at my box position here, can you see I'm not all scrunched up in a teeny tiny little box? I am slightly lengthened through there. The top part of me, so my back all the way down, this should be looking a little bit like a tabletop in my starting position. We're going to go into what we call a cat stretch. So from here, on an out breath, I want you to push your spine up towards the ceiling. Your head drops down. Your tailbone feels as if it tucks under slightly. Now you hold here to breathe in. On the out breath, you're going to lower your spine back down to what we call a neutral position. So that tabletop position again. Please be careful here, ladies, not to dip into extension. Okay, that's what I don't want you to do. I want you to come back to that neutral position. Let's try it again. Cat stretch first. Scoop up. Your head drops, your tailbone tucks under, you breathe in. On the out breath, you lower the spine. You come back to your neutral position. And again, out breath, scoop up. So this is a lovely way to open out through the spine. A really safe position for you to be working in, all fours position. back to neutral. We're going to do that one more time, guys. Out breath, push the spine up. Hold it here to breathe in. And on the out breath, return to your neutral position. Now again, at any point, ladies, if you need to take a breather, please do. You're going to be in all fours for a wee bit longer. So if you need to just come back and release off your wrists a little bit before you continue, then please feel free. Remember, take regular breaks, have some water when you need it. Let's come back to the all fours position. So again, check your hands are below your shoulders, your knees are below your hips. Now from here, keeping the body as stable as possible, especially around your hips and your pelvis. So think about the pelvic floor gently connecting. One leg is going to extend out behind you. Now as that leg extends, you're trying to maintain your balance. Breathe in, and on the out breath, draw the leg back in. Now at the moment, my toes are keeping contact with the floor. I'm going to alternate to the other side. Breathing out, I extend the other leg, keeping the toes in contact with the floor. Drawing the leg back in. So it's an alternating leg extension. Making sure again your head stays in line, the back remains in neutral. So it's a little bit like a tabletop position. Drawing the leg back in. Good, alternating again to the other side. Now this is all about challenging our core stability in an all fours position. But we're going to add an extra little bit of challenge here. So on your next one, I want you to do the same thing again. I want you to extend. Now, once the leg is extended, do just a tiny lift of your toes away from the floor, not too high, no more than an inch or two. Touch the toes back down and draw the leg back in. Let's do the other side. We extend the leg. Remember, your head stays in line, your shoulders are drawing down. Don't dip between your shoulder blades. Try to keep nice and strong. The back leg, once it's extended, just do a very small lift of your toes. Avoid any rotation through the body here if you can. Your balance will be challenged. Touch the toes down. Draw the leg back in. Now, if you're feeling you want to add an extra challenge in here, I'm going to give you the option of adding some arms. If you feel that the leg movement on its own is enough, please continue with just the leg movement. Otherwise, at the same time as the leg extends behind you, the opposite arm reaches forwards. Fingertips and toes stay in contact with the floor to begin with here, guys. Draw the arm and leg back in, and then alternate to the other side. Extend through the leg and the arm. Keep your fingers and toes in contact. Draw the arm and leg back in. Now let's see about adding the little lift in there. But remember, work to your own level. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it. Extend the leg. Extend through the arm. Now, once you're in position, I want you to do just a little lift of your fingers and toes here. Small lift. Now, this is where the balance becomes really challenged. Touch the fingers and toes back down and draw back in. Now let's think about the breathing. Out breath, extend. Now as you lengthen and lift through your fingers and toes, breathe in. Out breath, we touch back down and we draw back in. So each time I'm returning to that good box position. Let's do one more on each side. Out breath, extend. Breathe in, do a small lift of your fingers and toes, not too high. Touch back down. Draw back in. Last one to the other side. We extend. Breathing in, do your small lengthening and lifting. Touching back down, drawing the arm and leg back in. You're probably going to be feeling those wrists a little bit now. Take your knees just a little bit wider apart to allow for bump. Push your bottom back. And here, I want you to stack your fists one on top of the other and rest your forehead down on top of your stacked fists. Now, if bump is quite big and you struggle with that position, you could just be on your forearms here, or you maybe even need to be just resting onto your hands but not putting too much pressure through them. So you've got a few options there depending on how big the bump is. Now this rest position is lovely just to allow that back to open out a little bit and just to get you into a little bit of a comfortable position. Now from here, we're going to be looking at a little bit of a stretch for you. One of the most common things that pregnant women seem to suffer with is a condition called sciatica. And this can often come from the bottom muscle or sometimes into the lower back. So what I'm going to show you now is a stretch, a very gentle stretch for the bottom muscle. Now what's quite important here is during pregnancy and for about a year following the pregnancy, we have a hormone released in the body which makes us extra flexible and bendy. So any stretching that we do, we're not holding for a particularly long amount of time, and we're not trying to force the stretches, we're just working with them quite gently. You're going to be in a seated position with your hands behind you, fingertips, if you can, facing towards your bottom, but if they need to be out to the sides, that's absolutely fine. Lift one foot off the floor and cross that foot over the top of the other knee. I'm going to show you from a couple of different angles here, so hopefully you can see. So me from the front here, I've crossed that foot just over the top of that knee. Okay, so I'm in this position. Now again, depending on size of bump here, you may not be able to come too far forwards. All I'm going to do here is push down a little bit through my hands and almost lift a fraction through my chest. Now I don't want to create an extension in my back, so if you really find you're arching through there, then you're pushing up just that little bit too high. Hold the stretch position. We're looking to feel a stretch into the bottom muscle of the leg, which is out at the angle. Let's swap it over to the other side. We place the foot down, we bring the other foot over, and we hold. Now, do you notice any difference between the two sides? So remember, we're looking to stretch into the bottom muscle of the leg, which is out at the angle. And again, if you feel you can, lift your chest slightly, but don't arch your back here, guys. I want you to keep a nice alignment going down through the spine. Lovely stretch just to help release any sciatic issues there. Sometimes with sciatica, you'll feel a sensation going down through the back of the leg, and sometimes it can go down as far as your feet. It's very, very common in pregnancy. And release that foot back down. Good work, ladies, well done. Now we're going to be finishing our session with a last little bit of standing work. We're going to do a little bit of regrounding. So when you're ready, could you come back up to standing? Again, however you find it easiest doing so. And again, begin with your feet as close together as you can before you take your feet out to a triangle, or your toes out to a triangle rather, and then your heels. So you're back to your hip width position. Now let's just think down towards the feet and keeping the arms by the sides. Shoulders down, ears up, so we lengthen, pelvic floor connection. I'm going to finish you here with some small circular movements round. Now if you watch my circular movements round, you'll notice that the movement itself is coming from my feet, not, for instance, from my hips and pelvis. So I want you to feel a full body movement as you circle round. Now my posture remains tall. I've got a very gentle connection through to the bottom muscles and through to the pelvic floor. Remembering as well, any form of balance at this stage throughout the pregnancy becomes much more challenged. Change direction for me, ladies. Take it round the other way. Now you should be noticing that your toes especially, ooh, there goes my balance, are having to work really quite hard to help with that circular movement round. The feet themselves are staying relatively flat to the floor as I just create this small circular movement round. I'd like you to do one more circle round in that direction for me. I then want you to settle your weight back to center. Feel as if the sides of your waist pull up but your shoulders draw down. Again, connect to the pelvic floor and take a breath in. On the out breath, we take the arms out to the sides and all the way up to the top, where if you can, I want you to link through. Push up through the arms, draw the shoulders down, and if you can, come up onto a little tiptoes balance there to finish. Holding at the top to breathe in, and on the out breath, releasing the arms and lowering the heels back down. Good work, ladies. Well done. So, I hope you enjoyed that Pilates session termed under pre and postnatal. Please just remember once again to get the consent from your doctor or your GP before you commence any exercise program. Keep drinking regularly and again take regular breaks when you need to. I'll be back again soon with another 1 or 2 videos just to help keep you going throughout this time and help you through with the pregnancy and post-pregnancy as well. Take care, ladies. See you again soon. Bye for now.